in Lagos and Abuja. And later on the show, 12 killed in bandits and vigilantes clash in Plateau State as Niger State suspend mining in 3 local government areas over banditry. I'll be hanging out with Paul Dada and Asuko James. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Let's begin in Abuja, the country's capital, where the office of the Accountant General of the Federation is enmeshed in another corruption allegation. The acting Accountant General of the Federation, Chukwuire Anamakwe, has been removed just 35 days after he replaced Ahmed Idris, who was sacked on over 80 billion naira alleged fraud. Anamakwe, who has been replaced by Sylvia Okulebo, is alleged to be embroiled in a corruption scandal and has been under investigation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Accountant General of the Federation, Asuko. And when you look at, what happened, what transpired in that office before, his predecessor was alleged to have mismanaged over 80 billion naira. I'm still finding it difficult to wrap my head around a system that will allow public servants, have access to the cookie jar to be able to embezzle over 80 billion naira. Then we have this.
You can't be an accountant general of the Federation and be seeing billions and trillions, And there's no how, if you do not put systems in place.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To stop people from always putting their hands in the cookie jar, like you said, then we'll continue to have this. For Chukwuire, the sacked Accountant General, I think what happened was even when they made him the acting AGF, people were already saying that this guy has a case with the EFCC. I remember there were some online newspaper who were saying that he actually had a case with the EFCC. But I want to believe that the FG just wanted him to just take that space for a while and look for another suitable replacement. But unfortunately, I don't want to go like the bandwagon of people saying that he was actually removed because he actually said that Nigeria, the federal government, is actually borrowing, to augment salaries for the federal workers. But I think it was his own time for him to face justice. And then he was arrested, he was sacked, and he'll be facing justice. And don't forget, Ayo, that the allegations against him didn't just start today. The allegations started when he was Director of Finance and Accounts with the Ministry of Defense. So that is where the whole thing started. So the FCC has been on this matter until they decided.
So ab initio, it was not legible.
He was not
to be.
Exactly.
He doesn't have any business in that office.
Because
of the baggage.
Exactly. He had the baggage, So, but I don't know why the federal government decided to make him, the Accountant General. Well, I just in my head, because immediately they made him, there were already stories around, being peddled around that he has issue with the EFCC. So the federal government should have, find another replacement immediately.
What kind of system do we run that we don't even do background checks again? Now, if I'm in this organization now, do you understand? If I want to apply to work in another media house, they'll be able to make inquiries from this TVC. That's where is it coming from? Who's he? And do a kind of background check. So if this man was carrying this kind of baggage, why did he end up as the acting Accountant General?
What we are having is what we call comedy, comedy of errors in literature. And a position as sensitive as that of the Accountant General is not the one you trivialize by appointing someone who has for some time been under the radar of the EFCC. It was a director, it was being investigated. And then you rewarded him for what? For me, it sounded like a reward. You elevated him to the position of an acting Accountant General when you very much knew that the man who was there was still being accused, of course, was already arrested for an alleged 18 billion naira fraud, and then you put another person there who has been under EFCC investigation, I thought that it should be a normal thing to do background checks. I thought you could ask the EFCC, what's the status of this man's case? As this man, have you cleared this man?
Does he have any case with you?
Does he have any case with you? Then again, how long does the EFCC even do investigation on people? You know, how long do they do investigation and conclude for a man who is in civil service? It's not a man who has run away or something. It's not a man that cannot.
You have his file.
You have his file. You have everything. How long will it take the EFCC to even say? And again, in making appointment, I thought that when you are making appointment, for example, if I go to appoint a minister, you do background checks with the DSS. I thought you should get information. I thought the EFCC should be able to advise you.
A sensitive position as the accountant general.
That's what I'm saying. The EFCC should be able to advise you, you know, and say, no, sir, this man can't get it now because it's this. So there is a disconnect in the system. There's a problem somewhere. You know, it's just we just reduce everything to absurdity, profound absurdity. It's like we're not taking seriously sensitive issues as this. As you said that when you are an AGF, Accountant General now, not Attorney General of the Federation, you will have access to trillions.
Yes,
it goes with the territory, and you have to be someone who is self-controlled. You have to be someone who is upright.
Track record.
With a proven track record of integrity. So it's a shame, really. It's a shame that this is happening.
It seems most of our public officers that they see that opportunity as, look, it is a duty to come and chop. As in, I don't know, if you can rise to that position, and it is that time you choose to come and solve your name after working hard.
Yeah, well, people don't even start thinking about their name anymore. They believe that since we have weak justice system, all they need to do is to steal more. Somebody once told me, the person is not in Nigeria, he once told me that what people are doing now, they steal very well, and then the next thing they do is, they know by the time they are caught, they'll just take 1% of what they are stolen.
Okay, Asuko, how much do you need to be comfortable?
Ayo, I am comfortable.
What do you need? 80 billion naira.
No, see, the people who are stealing, they don't think the way that you and I are thinking, because they want the whole world to themselves. You know, because when we are growing up, we know that what comfort is having a roof over your head, you know, you can eat, you understand, and then you can go to school. That is how we are trained. You know, just go to a good school. You can come back home if you can.
This man is over 60. But so what does he intend to do with the money? If you go to Abuja, people steal billions of naira. I think knowing that by the time they go to court, they'll be able to get the best stance that will be able to take care of their. The worst that they can do is they will keep dragging that matter till their kingdom come. The worst, that is it. So they already know if you steal like 4 trillion. You know that 4 trillion.
Yeah, okay, look at this man that is taking like 80 billion.
I think there's a collapse of our values.
You know, somebody that actually they allege that he took 80 billion. If he's going to court today, I can tell you that the stands that will be around him, he will afford all the stands.
The best of the best.
So the judiciary is also part of the problem. We need a situation whereby when people are caught to have stolen our commonwealth, they should be locked in jail and the key thrown into the River Niger. That is so that everybody will begin to learn lessons. But if we keep saying, okay, the judiciary is just going to, you go there and they give you a pat on the arm and then you come back. Meanwhile, somebody who has stolen one fowl somewhere is given FTM jail term. That is a problem. So we must start, the judiciary has to start, we must start looking at how the judiciary will come hard on these people. Go to Abuja today. There are so many houses you will see in Abuja. Nobody is there. Yeah. The day that we heard that most of those houses are owned by civil servants. Some of them directors, some are in level 12, some are in level 13. They have houses with estates in Abuja. And they are not doing anything. So by the time we start, if we start to zero down on all these people, then this one we are talking about 80 billion. We don't even know. You know, the thing is, this man, we don't know how much he has been alleged to have been, he has stolen. Mm. We just have to fold our hands and wait until EFCC will take the matter to court. Yes. You know, so that is when. But now they just removed him based on allegation of corruption. So we just have to stick with what we already know. Mm.
All right. Most times, there's a thin line between perception and reality. The federal government has rejected the call by 5 United States Republican senators who asked for redesignation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern over alleged persecution of Christians. Responding to the allegation in London, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the call was based on false premise and misunderstanding of what is going on in the country. The minister said the only group that targets Christians is Islamic States of West African Province, ISWAP. What do you make between, what do you read between the lines? And I don't think any religious organization is going through persecution in Nigeria.
Yeah, I'm very much inclined to agree with the information minister on this one. Of course, we know that when ISWAP, we had a Boko Haram. Boko Haram was attacking churches, but at some point it was attacking mosques too. It was attacking mosques. It was attacking. There could be a strain of Boko Haram which had a very strange and hostile religious ideology. But Boko Haram soon became more interested in what? In, you know, just
causing
chaos and all of that.
Not targeting any.
No.
But to say that there is a mainstream persecution of Christians is wrong. Bandits, for example, or the terrorists don't ask for your religion when they kidnap you or kill you or all of that. Theirs is pay the ransom. I've not heard that bandits will get to a particular place. Now, if they attack a school, for example, or a military formation or a train, and they start saying, okay, Christians, come out. If they don't do that, if the Christians come, okay, we're only kidnapping Christians. We need to be very, I think those US senators are misinformed. They are misinformed by certain Nigerians who are, you know, pushing narrative that is false or half-truth, you know. But again, it is not enough to say that there is no Christian persecution in Nigeria. Yes, there's no Christian persecution in Nigeria, but deal with the bandits. The people who are being killed are Nigerians, whether they have a religion or they don't have a religion. Okay, the people who are killed by
take charge of the situation.
Take charge of the situation. They say that if there is no crack in the wall, there will be no leeway for the lizard. If we are dealt with our own situation, the US senators will not be saying all sorts. We have become an object of ridicule. Anybody can say anything about us and push any kind of narrative about us because we have not put our house in order. So it still comes back to us. It's our fault. It's our fault. If we had put our house in order, if we had dealt with banditry and terrorism decisively, those US senators or whoever would not have anything to talk about. So that's the issue.
So what do you make of this?
Yeah, just like Dada said, you know, we just have to put our house in order, you know. The persecution that they are saying is just a false. Some people are just out there trying to cause problem where there is no problem. We know that Nigeria has a problem, but I'm not sure that it is
that there's a deliberate
attempt to stifle Christians in Nigeria. No.
Now, but if you listen to, you know, senior clerics in the country, especially Christian leaders, there's always this narrative that, look, they're being attacked, and you hear people saying that, oh, 2023 election is about defending your religion. You know, complex things like that.
That is what we are saying. Our religious leaders should not use the pulpits, you know, to preach hate. Let me use that word.
And division.
And division. For Nigeria to have been together for this long, they should also know that it is the design of God. It is not we, me, you and I. It is the design of God. That is why we have stayed this long. And that is what they should be preaching to people. Yes, there will be a time that Christians will have persecution. There will also be a time that Muslims will also have persecution. And the persecution might be a common enemy, which all faiths will have to fight. It can be hunger, it can be bandits, it can be terrorism. And just like we say, there was a time Boko Haram was targeting one particular faith, but now they are targeting everybody. You understand? So it means that it is a collective fight that everybody must tackle. It is not just one particular faith against another faith. Our religious leaders must always use their pulpit to preach peace and religious coexistence. We must coexist one way or the other. I know that there's a particular time that people about religion. No, let us live religion. Hunger and poverty is even bigger than me becoming a Christian or my friend becoming a Muslim. Because when you go there and somebody is, the hungry man or angry man does not look whether it's from a Muslim. All he wants is food to eat.
When President Muhammadu Buhari visited the United States of America at the point in time during, what's his name, Donald Trump's administration, Donald Trump former president actually mentioned this, that Christians are, persecuted, that in Nigeria, and a case study.
They actually wrote a letter to Donald Trump then.
That's the information that they are getting, but it's misinformation. Unfortunately, we are not helping the situation. For example, there is one of the frontline candidates now is being pushed by some as a Christian candidate. And I say, look, you are just demarketing your candidate. Because you have to realize that God has made it possible that we have Christians and Muslims. Mm-hmm. I've seen people say, I'm a Christian, but I've seen some Christians, some ignoramuses who call themselves Christians, say, look, we must take back the country. Who took the country from you in the first place? Mm-hmm. Who took the country?
Were you sleeping?
Who took the country from you?
You have your pastor as your vice president.
I don't even understand what they are saying. So, okay, if you now push your candidate as a Christian candidate, how many? So, Chris, what about the Muslims in the country? What about those who are neither Muslims nor Christian? We must see, much as you like yours, I like my faith. Everybody likes their faith. You must realize that there are other faiths there. So let's stop pushing nonsensical narratives. As you said, the main issue is hunger. Hunger. I do not think Muslims are necessarily faring better than Christians economically.
No way.
Hunger is, you see, you have poor healthcare system. It's affecting everybody. There is no special
hospital for Muslims
or for Christians. Those are the issues. So we must. And again, when I hear clerics, influential clerics, especially Christians, those who are Christians, push this thing, I just, what is wrong with these people? And Nigerian Christians behave like people that are having Stockholm syndrome. These are the same pastors that will manipulate them, extort them, ask them to sow seed,
brainwash them,
and brainwash them. And then so many of them, they can't even help them in time of need. They give tithe and offering and all of that. And then one of them just stands up and starts. I know of one very popular who was just speaking against the Fulani, putting the Fulani in a stereotype. He felt that you are criminals among the Fulani.
There was a time that the U.S. in Nigeria, the U.S. mission in Nigeria, they released an intelligence report. And there was no time that they even mentioned that Nigeria was polarized in terms of Christians attacking Muslims or Muslims attacking Christians. They didn't put it there. They didn't. So when people begin to...
So this attempt by these senators to...
They are just trying to... let me tell you, there's some people are just trying to... Don't forget that there was a time that they predicted that Nigeria would divide.
2015.
And it didn't happen. And if Nigeria is God's design, it won't happen. It is just going to be there. So we, as Nigerians, must look for a common enemy that we'll be able to deal with. Because as it stands today, I can tell you for free, there is no anybody that is going to anywhere in Nigeria. They won't tell you that the captain or the pilot of a plane is a Muslim or a Christian. You just hear his name is Ayo. Is Ayo a Muslim? Is Ayo a Christian? You don't know. But Ayo will fly you from Lagos to Abuja. You understand? If you are taking a bus, it's the same thing. So there is nothing that defines Nigeria as being polarized in such a way that U.S. senators who don't have work will sit down and then they begin to table Nigeria matter. They have their own matter. Gun control is a problem there. You know, people are dying every day.
Some Christians are alleging persecution.
Yes.
Those who speak out against maybe gay or homosexuality, they attack them.
That's the problem.
Let's take our first caller. Olawale is calling us from Ikorodu. Thank you for joining us, Wale.
Good evening. Atukwa.
Yes, good evening, Wale.
I salute you and the other man. Please, Ayo, let us be highly objective on this particular topic you are discussing. Okay? The first topic you discussed, that of the accountant general that was given the boot after 35 days, is the fault of the minister. You want to tell me that the minister did not know that that woman was having, that man was having a case before recommending him to either the secretary to the government or and the president? We should stop disgracing ourselves. Okay? Secondly, the people that are being killed, one, Southern Kaduna, Plateau State, and Benue State. Don't let us deceive ourselves. Most of them are Christians. So those lawmakers that wrote to the secretary to the state to United States that Christians are being persecuted, they have their facts and figures.
Okay. How do you react to this? You mentioned Southern Kaduna, Benue State, and the perennial mayhem in Plateau State. Can that be classified as a religious thing? Let's start from, say, Plateau State.
You know, the thing is, it has been long. Particularly those three particular places you mentioned, Southern Kaduna, Benue, and Plateau. You know, this is a crisis that has been long. It didn't start today. You understand, Ayo? Even when Obasanjo was president, a Southern president and a Christian, we still had that problem. When Jonathan was, we had the problem. So, if they are now looking at it as if they want to exterminate the whole Christians, that is weird. That is my own. We shouldn't look at it as if they want to finish them completely, and then there is no Christian in this.
Okay, when bandits attack a Niger community, are they Christians? When they attack a community,
we know that these things are happening, but it is. We shouldn't make it as if we make it as if it's a general thing. Exactly. That if you come to Lagos, for instance, that Muslims are attacking Christians. We know that stuff like this, the attacks is happening in Southern Kaduna. We know that attacks is happening in Benue. Quite all right. But it didn't start today. And I believe that the federal government is finding solution to tackle this problem. It is not something that is isolated, Ayo.
All right. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
It was a bright sunny day in Agbala community. The community popular Jingo has just heard a rumor, and he has come to spread it to everyone. "You won't believe what I just heard," he said. "That incident last month was not a robbery. It was carefully planned by the neighboring community." It didn't take a lot for the people of Agbala to believe that the people of the neighboring community masterminded the attack, and only one person thought to call a friend in the community to check the information. By the time they realized the truth, nobody really remembered who brought the rumor. Fact check to be sure of the source of the information and its authenticity before spreading it or taking action. Fake news is dangerous.
This message is brought to you from the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government.
Thank you for staying with us. I was just reading some text messages from the United Kingdom and some parts of the country. But look, our program will not be used as a tool to
polarize Nigeria.
I don't understand.
You know, people get emotional
to pass subversive messages.
Sometimes I read comments on when I watch this program on YouTube, and I see people abusing us. Sometimes they abuse BK, sometimes they abuse and all of that. People are very emotional, but we must learn to detach our emotion from facts. That's just the truth.
All right, moving on now. Oftentimes in Nigeria, the more effort adopted to correct an anomaly, the more complicated it becomes. Despite assurances of supply and continuous provision, scarcity of petroleum motor spirit, popularly known as petrol, persists in major cities across the country, especially Lagos and Abuja. What we now have is black marketers who sell petrol between 350 and 500 naira per litre. In the face of this, stakeholders and marketers insist that the scarcity is far from over. As we go, some Nigerians will tell you that however they want to go about it, that government should just make it available, that they will buy. That they're already buying at inflated rates for a long time now. That we know in Abuja, it has been a very big deal getting access to fuel.
I was even talking to Tolu before coming, and I can tell you for free, it will be the government will still have to subsidize, this thing, petrol for us, because if you look at it, Ayo, the deregulation of diesel as well as kerosene. In fact, it is just this evening that I knew that kerosene is more than 600 naira per litre. Because it was deregulated. So if people are saying that they should deregulate and allow free market forces, and then government should hands off, we'll be buying fuel for almost 600 naira too. Because don't forget, it is only NNPC and some companies, or in quote, it is only NNPC. It was even recently when we had bad fuel that we knew that NNPC had some other people who we are importing. You understand? So it is only NNPC that is bringing in this product. And then the federal government is subsidizing. We will be paying about 4 trillion to subsidize in the next one. So we have to do the plus and minus. Do we keep subsidizing to maintain peace in Nigeria? Or do we allow market forces to have a play? Don't forget that we are not refining all the refineries that we have. No one is refining anything, not even one drop of fuel. Not one drop. So everything is being imported. And don't forget that we still have the issue about Russia and Ukraine. That war is affecting virtually everything. We might just be sitting in Nigeria and don't know, but it's affecting everything. The cost of gas, the cost of fuel, everything is up. Wheat, because, and wheat, even bread. Very soon we'll be doing a story on that, because that is Russia. They had the major suppliers of wheat in the world. One of the major suppliers of wheat, Ukraine. So if, for instance, we have this issue on ground, Abuja, that we are saying that they are selling petrol for 5 liters for, I think Femi used to buy at 6,000 naira, a bit 7,000 or 8,000. It's going to go up high. We have to start looking at as a matter of urgency, try to see if our refineries will bounce back. If our refineries bounce back, we have at least 2 refineries working. I keep asking, when they say that we have refineries, 4 refineries, and we have workers in that refinery, because those workers, what do they refine that we are paying them salaries? Do we just put people there, they are not doing anything, and then we are paying them salaries? And not just small salaries, heavy salaries.
And they are going on overseas training?
Of course they will go for training. Training to do what? To just carry paper and file. So we have to look at that. If we do not have a refinery, we will have a serious problem, especially next year. We have serious problem because refineries is what we need, and it can be done.
Definitely, the way it looks like, we can't sustain this regime of subsidy regime?
Definitely we cannot. Deregulation is actually the way to go. But when? Is this the right time?
But when is the problem?
When? Already, look at the crisis that has happened with diesel. In fact, the high cost of diesel is even affecting the fuel, petrol supply, because they have to transport the fuel. Now, I find it difficult to wrap my head around why this fuel problem remains intractable. This poverty, scarcity in the midst of plenty. We talk about the refineries. Okay, all the money, if you calculate the monies that have been spent on subsidy for the past 10 years, if we have pumped them into the upgrade of the refineries, maybe not be where we are now. What is so deep? Why is it so difficult to turn around 4 refineries? We've heard of turnaround maintenance several times. Yeah. Maintenance that did not turn around the refineries. And they call it TAM, turnaround maintenance. So, of course, it's good to subject this to market forces, laws of demand and supply, and all of that. But the thing is, how do we do it? If you remove subsidy, now, if you remove subsidy on petrol, and then you're having 600 per liter or 500, already we're having something like that because of scarcity, 700 per liter and all of that. How will the citizens survive? How are we going to survive? Many people will park their cars, they will not drive their cars again. Some people will be walking to their offices because they will not be able to afford to take public transport. That's the issue. And small companies will shut down. Remember what has happened with diesel? Even media houses, radio stations.
Yes.
They cannot do 24 hours. They can't do 24 hours anymore. This hardship is too much. We've got to do something about it. Everybody is open on Dangote refinery. But what about and we even have modular refineries in this country.
Modular refineries can't refine
PMS. I know. Okay. Yeah.
They can't refine PMS.
They can't.
So now, with this subsidy regime, the number of the kind of debts that the nation has incurred, and when you look at even the profit revenue, we eat into over 90% of our profit, revenue to offset this debt, and it keeps piling up. It keeps piling up. I know President Muhammadu Buhari does not want the average Nigerian to bear this brunt, but definitely, maybe the new administration, somebody will have to take that big decision. No, because we can't continue like this.
Of course. Is going to be the next, and I'm very sure the next government will have to take the decision.
And the government will be unpopular immediately.
Before then, they have to start looking at palliatives that will be able to lessen the burden of Nigerians. Because one, most of the cars that we have, we don't need plenty cars on the roads. If we have train walking, if those who are living in Ikorodu, for instance, they don't need to drive from Ikorodu and go to VI. They can just use ferry. Those who are in Alagbado and they want to go to Island, if there's a train that will take them directly, just like what Sowolu wants to do now, if there's a train, they will park their cars.
The system should be efficient.
Very efficient. You know that, in 1 hour, you're already on the island. In less than an hour, you are back. Life becomes easy. Then you know that, okay, the money that you are supposed to spend for fuel to drive to kill to suffer yourself from Agbado to Island, you just use it and buy tickets. You have the Oyster ticket that you'll be able to pay, take your train and you are on the island. Same across everywhere. If we do that, you know that transportation has been sorted. For food, we have to also look for how we can, produce food that will be cheaper for people.
We have a caller. John is calling us from Abakaliki. That's the capital of the Ebonyi State.
Hello.
Yes, John. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, and the studio. I want to make comment on your second point on the attack on Christians or not. One feel that when issues like this are being discussed, those of you who are the analysts should be very, very objective. If you check the statistics of attack, particularly in recent times, there is no way you cannot link it to be religious.
No? Hello, John, are you there? Okay, let's go. Before John came in.
So we also have to make food very, very cheap for people. That is, we have to, this rice production that President Buhari, started, we need to intensify on it. Like I keep saying, if we have fuel, if we have refineries, we don't need to keep refineries that are moribund. If we need to sell them, we can sell them. Kaduna refinery had close to 2,000 staff, and they have not produced one drop of fuel. Close to 2,000, and they are collecting salary every month.
Why do you think it's difficult for the government to come up with, refineries? That building, or to encourage private participants, more like what Dangote has done, to more people should come into that industry?
It's actually a huge investment, and for me, I think it takes some level of bravery to even
dabble into that,
as Nigeria is now. Now, especially when you even go look at the issue of insecurity. The issue of insecurity alone is a moral killer. But then the question you ask, why is it difficult for governments to turn around to first have refineries? It beats my understanding, honestly, because for any serious government, it's not about this government only. Several regimes. I've not been able to do anything about it. There is no will. There's no desire. I feel there's no desire to really alleviate. A sincere, tangible, palpable desire to really alleviate the sufferings of our people. There was a time in this country that people were profiting from so-called fuel importers, were profiting, and they were importing nothing, and they were making money.
I remember.
And it wasn't that people in government, some people in government were not in cahoots with these people. They knew about this. Yes. We don't just want to solve the problems of the citizens. Some people are happy when Nigerians continue to be beggarly, continue to be, to be suffering.
Let's take this call. Abubakar is calling us from Kaduna State.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Oga Ayo. You see, Nigeria is a solid country, and you people are doing a wonderful job by informing the uninformed people. And what we are saying here, we should not take religion as a yardstick to judge whether Nigeria will survive or not. Because if some people are just judging it in that way, look at Fort Jos. Where we call Yalwan Shandam is a Muslim settlement. That time it was wiped out by Christians, but Muslims did not take it as if Christians are killing Muslims. Look at what is happening now. As currently now everything is happening. If they kill one Christian in the north.
Thank you, Abubakar. We still don't want to be promoting these narratives. It's just
criminal groups are attacking. Let's take it like that. Criminals are attacking.
As if it's a deliberate attempt by one religion to attempt. No.
So please, people should calm down about.
You don't just say Christians are attacking Muslims or Muslims are attacking Christians. It's criminal groups, or they may wear the face of religion, but you can't tell me that Muslims have gathered somewhere and they have determined to wipe off Christians in you can't say that.
Okay, let's go back to our field.
Yes, exactly. Because I wanted to say that
it's discouraging when you now move. You can't just predict some filling station, but when you just move around Lagos, you see traffic build up, you see the gridlocks, you see filling station, on and on. It's like erratic now.
The thing is, there seems to be a racketeering, let me use that word, between the marketers and the depot owners. The marketers and the depot owners that seems to be the problem now, because the cost of bringing this product, to the to you and I, is supposed to be 165.
Yep.
Abi? But now the marketers are finding a way not to make it 165 because they are in collude with the depot owners. And that is the problem that presently the NNPC, the House of Rep members and the senators who are meeting, because they are even meeting to know the daily consumption of fuel in Nigeria. Because these marketers and depot owners, what they are doing now is, because they can't sustain the 165, because they complain that the running costs,
the running
cost of even the depot itself is high now. So the best thing is they are finding ways to move this product to countries where they can make the daily consumption of fuel in Nigeria. I think that is another thing that we can even start, one of the topics that we can even start looking at. The daily consumption, how many liters of fuel do we consume in Nigeria? There was a time even Ahmed Lawan was even asking. He said that we don't even know. If we know, then we can start doing the plus and minus. Because marketers will keep saying that they don't have enough product. But they will give them this product, they will go to Benin Republic, they will go to Ghana, because that is where they have the market.
And finally on the show today, bandits continue to perpetuate terror across Nigeria with impunity. In Plateau State, some bandits clashed with vigilante in Zak community, was a local government area of the state, killing 12 people. This was after bandits sent quick notices to some communities in the area, warning residents to evacuate the villages or be killed. Meanwhile, the Niger State government has suspended mining activities in Munya and Rafi local government areas, where terrorism and banditry have risen to terrible levels, and Shiroro local government areas, when 20 military personnel and 7 mobile policemen were killed by terrorists last week. 20 military personnel. These guys, they are no longer the normal ragtag, bandits that we have, because it's the level of, the kind of ammunition you'll be carrying to be able to kill 20 trained military personnel.
Yeah, the truth is that we now have 2 governments in Nigeria. So if we have 2 governments in Nigeria, we have the governments we know, federal government, state government, and then we have what one of our colleagues refer to as unknown governments, unknown governments. You see, and this unknown government unleashes terror on the citizens or the subjects of the legitimate government, and then we have no response. We have no response. Now, it does not inspire hope when you hear that military personnel and mobile policemen are killed, and there's who protects people that are supposed to protect us are being killed so cheaply,
armless civilians,
without a response. So if they can so kill a policeman or a soldier cheaply, then can I guarantee my own safety, or you? You understand what I'm trying to say? So it's very shameful that this continues. They even it has come to a point where they have the audacity now to give quick notices on legal residents of communities. It just reminds me of something like that happened in Lagos many years ago, but it was not common. It was just some thieves, there was a community. They told them, we are coming, they wrote them, drop letters everywhere. We are coming to receive our Christmas gift, get ready, and all of that. I used to be a reporter with an evening tabloid there, but such a thing was not common. It's now a common thing that these people are now very bold. They are very bold. They don't even care about anybody. The uniform of the soldier, the military uniform or the police uniform or the civil defense uniform does not even make them fear. Because most times when they
you ask yourself, how can bandits be sending quick notices
to
communities in Nigeria?
Exactly. And now the United States government is responding by closing down the mines, and because they feel that some people hide there. Now go and dislodge them and let people return to their jobs. We can't be shutting down we have shut down farms have closed. because of activities of bandits. Markets have closed because of activities of bandits. Churches are places of worship have closed because of activities of bandits. So have you got until we close Nigeria, the entire nation? Are you going to close the entire nation because of bandits? We must do something. They always catch us sleeping. We are always napping.
I suppose it's as if they are having a field day right now.
They are.
Well, the security agents will tell you they are not, that they are working on it. You know, so, and we would always give them benefit of doubt. But the thing is, what we are seeing on ground is like they are not even doing anything. Because if, for instance, what happened in Shiroro, whereby it was ISWAP that actually attacked the military base there and killed soldiers, 20 soldiers or more than 20, it shows that these guys are now more organized. They know their targets, and then they are now more daring now, and then they know how to, you know, unleash their weaponry or whatever. You understand? Ayo, we need to reorganize our security architecture. Again, if the government needs to start doing conferences, sitting down and telling themselves the truth. I'm not talking about
why bandits.
You understand? I'm not talking about them sitting down to drink coffee. It's about if they need somebody to go home for failure of not doing his or her work, it should be done. That is when people will now understand that this Mr. President is serious or the governor is serious. I don't blame Zamfara State Governor who said that people should start carrying arms. And don't forget, Ondo State Governor also said something like that, similar. Everybody will start, before you know it, everybody will start thinking about owning one rifle or the other to protect himself or herself. So government should not allow us get to that position, that point, whereby we will have to start looking for guns to protect ourselves. They must, you know, give us hope that they can secure us. In fact, one of the cardinal objectives of a government is the protection of lives and property. So the government must do it. We don't want to see every day we come back and then they say 20 people killed, 12 people killed. The one that happened in Plateau, it was the vigilantes that were even fighting with these bandits. So just imagine if they didn't even interface and, you know, battle with them, what would have happened? You know, so we shouldn't get to that point whereby we begin to count bodies. We are not. We have counted bodies for too long. It is now time for action. It is time for us to deal with these bandits. If we need, if the soldiers, if we need to put people on the ground, let's do that. If we have Air Force. We have what is happening to our intelligence units? What is happening to our intelligence unit, Ayo?
And this has left a lot of, you know, internally displaced people.
Of course.
Littered across. Look at the despondents. Look at the face. Look at their faces. Most of them, they've lost their parents. They've lost loved ones, and no, the future is bleak.
The future is bleak. I saw a headline before I got there. Said 139 clerics, worshippers killed, 394 kidnapped in 18 months. That has been the kind of story that we have been telling in Nigeria. And we keep losing people to bandits or terrorist killings as if they are, and these are souls, these are human beings. They are not salarams. They are human beings.
Okay, let's take this call from Awa from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Awa.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me, Mr. Ayo?
Yes, Lawa.
Yeah, good evening. My contribution is very short. Now, if the government is very serious about these people, the issue of Wadume, the guy that, the kidnapper that was arrested and escaped, and he was rearrested. Please, what is the situation of that guy's case? The government is not sure. That is where the whole thing started. Because that guy was having a few days. That was what gave death to all these doctors that we are seeing now. Wadume was arrested. He was alleged to have been working with some people. And today, nobody is brave enough. Not the government, not the federal government, not the Senate, not the House of Representatives. Nobody was brave enough to bring up this matter. And we say we are fighting banditry. That is defeat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lawa. Thank you, Lawa, for Lagos. Because if we have, you know, the level of insecurity Now, going into the election period, now, the new government, I don't know.
Now start with that one. We'll start with insecurity. That's what the new government will start with. In fact, there are some states in Nigeria that there won't be election. I can tell you that for free. Because how would they, days back, unknown gunmen attacked INEC office in Enugu. So how will INEC conduct election in that particular place? If election starts now, do you think INEC will want to go to this particular community? There will be wards there. They won't go there. Anywhere that they have insecurity. Don't forget what happened in Anambra. They had to stop election in Hiala, some places in Hiala, Abi. And then from there, a day after they now went back, after they now found out that there is security, that was when they now got there. But people will not go back. Nobody wants to take the risk his life because he wants to, exercise his franchise. No, So the thing is, government must begin to look at these things. Now, if we need people to be dealt with, they should. It's like we are just allowing these people to have a free day. We must deal with them, speak with the language that they understand. That is when we will now know that government is serious.
It's as if this administration is overwhelmed already.
The administration is overwhelmed, and I don't see. I said it the last time I came here. I don't see anything positive happening before this administration hands over, because it does not look like they want to do anything. It's not like they can't do, but they don't want to do. Already. No, but of course. For the past 7 years, they have not done. What are they going to do within the last within the few months? Okay, you understand? I'm right. I am correct to say that I am pessimistic, that I'm not inspired, that I don't believe that they can do anything. Because they have not done what they could not resolve in 7 years. Why would they suddenly rise up? Especially now that we are in the everybody's talking politics. I said it the other time. I'm not even excited that we have candidates coming out to say this and say that. Come and tell us what is your blueprint? What are you going to do different from this government? What are you going to tackle insecurity? What are spell them out, one, or itemize them. Number one, I will do this. Number two, I will do this. Let's know that you really have something to offer.
I think, Ayo, before we go, Ayo, the government should understand they have made serious gains in terms of infrastructure, roads, railway, and the likes. They should not allow insecurity destroy these gains. Because as it looks, the past 7 years, insecurity has bedeviled this country, but they have been going around developing areas that they need to develop. But nobody is talking about the roads. Nobody is talking about the railway. Everybody is talking about security.
Exactly.
We have to
so they have to know.
Asquith James, thank you for your contribution. And Paul Dada, thank you for your contribution. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us every Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday between 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. You're watching ShopX TV, home to some of the most popular international brands in Africa, including Hubber Chef, MyFit Jeans, Genie Bra, the Power XL